I don't subscribe to Feng Shui in a very fatalistic point of view. That means I don't look at a parcel and say, wow, you two cannot get married together.
I'm curious. So before your dad retires and company is safe in my son's hand, is there a Mr. Miyagi moment where he was like, okay, I'm gonna put you in a test and see whether you was there a moment where he tested you, like, okay, I believe my son can do it?
I don't think if you ask my dad, I don't think he'll ever think I'm good enough. You know what I mean?
Fair,
Yeah,
yes.
my dad is like I say, if you can swim and you don't die, then you're okay lah.
He's not wrong.
It's not wrong.
not wrong.
Technically,
Yeah,
I mean, if you can swim, then you should be good enough to swim, right?
Yeah, he's not wrong. Yeah.
So is there a moment? There's no moment. With my dad, there's never a moment. It's always a ongoing thing, right? But that moment really started because for my company, every service that we provide, we ask our client to give us a feedback.
Right.
And to me, once you have achieved a certain level of approval from your client, that to me is good enough. Right? So that is the gauge that we use to gauge all our new Fengshui Masters coming into a company. We gauge by caseload. You must hit a certain amount of caseload and have a certain level of approval and certain level of willingness to refer other friends to you. So we have internal gauges. And to me, if you are a master that has hit a certain caseload, you unlock certain new skills.
Right.
If you have hit a certain approval rating, you have unlocked a new skill.
But this approval rating not public one, right?
It's public. It's some of them will be on Google review lah. But then
Okay,
a lot of it is for ourselves to tabulate. The management would then use that as a decision maker to say, okay, I think you can start offering this kind of service.
Right.
Or you can start charging at this kind of price point. Yeah, because when you first come in, you're charging like $88 per hour. And then if you're stuck there, then you cannot make much money. Right?
True.
Yeah,
So
to approve for the next stage, then you have to hit a certain certain caseload plus a certain level of approval lah.
How do you know in the sea of all the Feng Shui Master which one is good? Because I don't have a transparent approval rating system.
I think this industry, ultimately, it is the government would never come in and say you all need to set certain standards.
Right.
I don't think it's their job anyways lah. I mean, it's a free market, right? So ultimately, a lot of where our business comes from is not from advertising. It's not like you put your face on a bus and people will start calling you, right?
Yeah.
It's through, I've used this Feng Shui Master. He is quite good. He helped me in this issue. And then that's when you will feel like, oh yeah, I feel good enough to try this guy out. Yeah. So
it's very much word of mouth.
So our industry itself is very word of mouth. If you're good, you're good. If you're no good, then you can do this for many years and still not get clients, right? Yeah.
True. I guess speaking of being a good Feng Shui Master, what are the extent of let's say your abilities? Because I know that there are actually multiple things that a Feng Shui Master can do.
Yes.
So he can read your Bazi, he can look at your house, the Feng Shui in your house, office lah, or some can even read faces.
Yes.
So for yourself actually, what kind of
expertise
do you have?
So ultimately, it is down to the two things, right? How well you can understand the person, and how well you can understand the environment. And to me, you pick your own poison or you pick your own tools, right? Say for example, some people feel an affinity with face reading. Then they might go into the face reading part to try to understand the individual. Some people might do palmistry. Some people might do 紫微斗数. I myself have subscribed more to Bazi. So there's many different schools of thoughts. But as long as the client agree that you understand them, you can read them accurately, then that to me is a good gauge, right? I don't care what tools you use. So if you join my company, of course there are certain selected tools that you have to use.
Right.
And if you don't know how to use these tools, unfortunately my company cannot use you.
Right.
But other Feng Shui companies might use different tools, right? So I don't know how they manage their company, but my company, I think we have a few standardized tools that we put our students through in school, in training. And if they have an affinity with that tool, then they will do quite well lah.
So being a master doesn't mean you know how to use all the tools. You're just good at certain tools. Is that correct?
It's just like being a doctor. You cannot operate on all the parts of the body. ultimately you have to be
Correct.
specialized in a certain area. You must understand
That's
the
what-
whole anatomy of the body,
right.
but you cannot specialize in that area because, first of all, you don't have a whole lifetime of learning. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right? If you really have to be an expert in all the body parts, then you probably die by the time you can operate on anyone. Yeah. Secondly, I think that when someone tells you, I know all the skill sets, basically it's like telling me you don't know anything. You know what I mean? Or not?
Suspect, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that having a lot of tools is good, but you must ultimately specialize in the tool.
Right.
Yeah, if you don't specialize in something, then I don't trust that you have spent enough time like practicing what you say you know, and then you might not be very sharp at it, like you might just have cursory knowledge about a lot of things. Yeah.
Okay. So for yourself, I'm assuming from what you said just now, it's more of the 八字lah.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Because so something about 八字is I actually went to get mine read by a Fengshui Master before. Okay, together with my partner, my boyfriend actually. So we sat together and
no.
he yeah. So it was a gamble lah, I would say. Which actually leads us to our next question. If the 八字 that you are reading for someone doesn't look too good, or if you are reading for a couple and you find that they are not a good match, will you tell it to them in their face, or will you try to make it sound a bit better, like not so bad? How do you break the news to them?
Ultimately you choose the master based on how they are as a person as well. Just like when you choose doctors and lawyers, they kind of have to have a certain agreement with you as a person and some of your ideas and philosophy. I don't subscribe to Feng Shui in a very fatalistic point of view.
Right.
That means I don't look at a 八字 and say, wow, you two cannot get married together. I would have to highlight to them. Say, for example, I definitely met cases like this before. Then I would first put my disclaimer out there and say, from what I can see, this is not a definite match.
Right.
There are some conflict. But it is all about understanding why there's a conflict happening behind the charts. Right? Say, for example, one is very noir as a person, and the other person is always very anxious to get things done. Then you want to point out that for two of them and let them solve their differences between them, right? And most of the time when you start talking about those topics, they would be nodding in agreement. It's like, yeah, I'm very noir. Or yeah, but I really like I really like my house clean. I need everything to be put a certain way. And if they understand that, then they are making a conscious decision to come together, knowing that I won't be blindsided by suddenly you throwing your sock on the table, or you, potentially wanting me to clean every strand of hair from the floor. Right? I think it's about giving clarity to the situation. I wouldn't just say, hey, you are a dog and you are a dragon, therefore you cannot get married. There must be a reason why they cannot get along. And my job is to explain the reason why.
Okay. So you won't break it to them like
I would.
you are not.
I would,
but not.
but I will explain to them why.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say your chart has very strong earth. A certain strong earth element would display certain qualities and certain, not very good
Bad
qualities
habits,
also. And then if you are very strong fire.
Yeah.
And fire and earth, what kind of relationship, what kind of dynamic do they have together? One of the things I really like to explain is like, everybody has expectations in a marriage. And through 八字, you can kind of tell what their personal expectation in the marriage is. And to me, you can either go to a marriage counselor and sit down for 3 days to do a lot of exercise to understand that, or you can come to a 八字 master and they'll tell you straight away. It's like, hey, he expects you to love him very much. If you cannot love him this much, you better reconsider.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, like that's basically that's my job lah.
But it's very good for those people who don't want to, go around the bush, I just want to find out what the problem is to solve it.
Exactly. Yeah. We are using a different tool to basically come to the same conclusion. Right? Basically, you don't want to be walking blindly into a union that is supposedly for life. Right? You want to get as much information as you can get. And one of the things is looking for a Feng Shui master lor. Yeah.
So have anybody ever told you in your face before that you are wrong?
So far, I must say no. I don't think I have clients who are so straightforward. Maybe they will go outside and say, "Hey, Mark, not very good." They never told me in my face. But most of the time, I would say it is. To me, it's not about being accurate. It's how much I can help you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I must say I'm quite blessed with good clients, and they're always very willing to entertain the things that I say and try to come to a conclusion. At least on some level, you must agree that my analysis of you is correct. And if you don't agree, then that's the end of conversation, right? Then why would you continue talking to me, right? So most of the time when we do Bazi reading, it is understanding you as a person, and once you agree with that as your energy and you as a person, then you're willing to take the next step, right? Of course, we have clients who are like, no, I don't think that's me. That's not me at all. Then, basically then we will look whether the date of birth you give me is accurate or not, first of all.
Oh my god.
Yeah, sometimes. I was like, you don't sound like this person.
Right.
It's like, if you really insist, maybe something is wrong the date of birth. And sometimes we do find some mistakes like that. Yeah. And also we have people who are born in a different country or born in a different hour and stuff like that. That we have to go back and check the basis of what we say, right? So to me, accuracy of information is very important.
Right.
Yeah, blabber, 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 then this is a completely different person who is from you. It's something very bad. So I think a good Feng Shui master is someone who can accurately point out who you are as a person, and you must agree. And if you don't agree, then this Feng Shui master is probably still in training.
Okay.
Yeah.